So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see.
The main thing is with Moses' style, he could be landing some serious bombs, sharp bombs that do a lot of damage to Dillian early doors, so he could never get into the fight. So yeah, I think it's stacked against Dillian. I'm not saying that Dillian can't do anything in the fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if I'm looking at it from the outside in and just looking at how I see both men's stages of careers, the style.
And that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least ask questions of this young pup.
Heavyweight boxing experts have shared their predictions for the Itauma versus Dillian Whyte fight. Frank Warren believes Moses will win, but admits it will still be a tough challenge, since Dillian can punch hard. He is confident Moses can handle the pressure and come out victorious. Warren also makes it clear that he wants Moses to win, as he sees him as the future of the heavyweight division.
What is your forecast for this fight?
I think he'll be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop Dillian Whyte. But I also know that Dillian Whyte also has the punch power to cause damage. And the one thing with Moses at the moment is that's not been tested. So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see. For me, beating him is a big thing.
Right.
However he does it, and I want to see the other side of him as well. I want to see him. I want to see him in a tough 12-round fight where he comes through it and boxes his way through it. He's not a one-trick pony. He can box, but as I say, this is a tough one. This is going to be. This is a fan's fight.
Yes, great fight.
That's what it is. It is.
Aid Oladipo, a well-known boxing analyst and commentator, notes that Dillian Whyte's recent performances have not been his best. However, he points out a clear change in the build-up to this fight. Training camp updates and released footage show a completely different Whyte leaner, sharper, and physically prepared. His conditioning looks close to the best shape of his career, which could make him a genuine threat to the young and rising Itauma. Aid believes this transformation means Whyte can pose serious problems for Moses and push him to his limits in the ring.
All of a sudden, people have seen the shape that... I saw a video, which I'm guessing you guys have seen as well, of Dillian Whyte hitting the heavy bag and doing a bit of shadow boxing. He looked incredible. Dillian Whyte, me and G-Man did the look back, didn't we? Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. And Dillian Whyte looked in incredible shape there. And I was thinking, if he can get close to that, he's close to that. He's close to that. Dillian Whyte in his last few fights has been around the 260 mark. I think he might have even been heavy for a couple. I think he looks low 250s. And all I can ask from a fighter, this is why I get so pissed off with Martin Bakole, just get in shape. Skill's skill. You're not going to change a fighter from fucking where you are to Muhammad Ali. I'm not asking for that. Just get in shape. Dillian Whyte has ticked that box. And he's like, okay, if you think I'm going over to Saudi Arabia just to get smoked by this 20-year-old, we'll see. That's what I'm taking from the shape I'm seeing him in, because he looks incredible. And also, when he's firing out his jab in that little shadow boxing, his arms are so long. Dillian Whyte, compared to his body structure, he has overly long arms. What I'm getting at is that Dillian Whyte can box a bit as well, He's not just a brawler, he's been tagged as this brawler. He can box a little bit. Is he a better boxer than Moses? No. But that jab could be key. Jab's always key, right? We always talk about it. But one thing I see with Dillian Whyte being in this shape is that he's saying, if I can take this young boy past 6, we're going to go into deep waters that this young boy's never been before. And it's all well and good, Moses saying, I'm sparring 10 rounds, I'm sparring 12 rounds. And, I was on TalkSport when he mentioned this yesterday. Fighting 10 rounds is different. Fighting 12 rounds is different. Dillian Whyte's done that. And look, sometimes Dillian Whyte's blown out of his ass. Sometimes Dillian Whyte's been beat in those 12-round fights. But Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least ask questions.
Lawrence O'Coley, a former professional boxer and boxing analyst, says Moses Itauma has already fought impressive fights and earned notable wins. However, he stresses that none of those victories have come against someone with the experience and caliber of Dillian Whyte. Moses is still early in his career and lacks the years of elite-level ring time that Whyte has accumulated. His experience gap could play a major role in how the fight unfolds.
I know, relax. Moses has been performing under the bright lights, but what I'm saying is, it's still so early and he's got a lot to prove. Up until this point, I can't argue. He's passed every test with flying colours, but the problem is, he's passed so easily, he's missed out on valuable lessons along the way, and he's now got a very experienced veteran in front of him, in Dillian Whyte, who's been at world level. Everybody's written Dillian off, but recently, seeing interviews and seeing training footage, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've got to be honest, my mind's starting to shift. Let's take a look and discuss the key takeaways.
I don't think I've ever seen you be this big an underdog in a fight. You are like 1 to 14.
Dev asked Dillian, how does he feel being the underdog?
And that's what makes it dangerous. As an underdog, you're underneath, you get up at them testicles and lock onto them, and it's game over.
It's crazy really because like I said, he's fought at world level, fighting the likes of Povetkin, Fury, Chisora, AJ, Parker, the list goes on. But in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. In Dillian's last fight, he looked terrible, putting it politely.
Has he put something in you? Because like your last few fights, Ebenezer like instilled a fear, not...
No man has put anything in me. Pause this.
Dillian does make me laugh, dark humour. But maybe that says more about me. He says it the way it is. There's no sugar coating. Dev says, is this the biggest risk he's took in his career? Which again is madness.
All of them has been massive because you think no one's ever had me as the favourite. Think of one fight that was the favourite. Just think.
Dylan's right. He's always the underdog. It's nothing new.
How do you reflect on your fight with Tete?
It was what it was. Listen, I've been walking the long, lonely, dark road for 3 years.
This is the thing. People forget that fighters go through things outside of the ring which affect the performance, but us fans only judge the performance. At the end of the day, fighters are human, they're not robots.
Then that fight for me was, ask myself a question, can I take a good whack and push through? Can I force myself to put the jabs in? Can I...
He admits he wasn't in great shape, but that fight for him was about dipping his foot in the water and seeing if he still got it and still wants it.
I had a few injuries and stuff going into the fight, but it is what it was. But that fight
Recent training footage of Dillian Whyte has impressed many observers who previously questioned his form after a period of inactivity and a less convincing last fight. The latest clips show him moving with purpose, delivering powerful combinations, and maintaining a focused rhythm in drills. His physique appears close to peak conditions, similar to 2018 when he decisively stopped Lucas Brown. This renewed energy and discipline have sparked fresh optimism among his supporters, who believe he still has the tools to compete at a high level. As he prepares to face the young and fast-rising Moses Itauma, Whyte's progress in training has become a major talking point, raising expectations for a competitive and potentially explosive heavyweight clash.
That since like late 18, right? I remember him knocking out Lucas Brown. When he knocked out Lucas Brown, he looked like he was in the best shape of his life. He looks similar or better now, which is very impressive. And I think like Terrence Crawford, people are now looking at Dillian Whyte. You know, seeing is believing. You know, when we see results, we start believing in those results. I think now people understand that Dillian Whyte has taken this very seriously. He's been out of the ring for a long time. His last two opponents quit. Tete and Hammer, they both quit. And I think that Dillian, this is his last hurrah. If it's his last hurrah, if it's his last time to shine, he has nothing to lose. Why not go out with a bang? Why not go in the best shape possible? Why not do what you're supposed to do in training camp? Okay, because you can't really predict what happens in that ring except you and that other guy. It's up to you or that other guy. But in training camp, you have a team around you. You have determination, you have motivation, you have discipline more than likely. Okay? And I think that Dillian Whyte is looking great, bro. He is looking great. He doesn't have the the unbalanced body type like you normally see him. He's too big upper body, legs are small. You know what I mean? He's throwing, he's all off balance because of the imbalance of his body. But I do think that Dillian Whyte will come in to make a splash, and this is how you're supposed to look if you intend on doing it. I love the way he looks. He looks great. He looks in shape. He looks like he's ready for a battle.
Boxing fans and media analysts agree that there is massive pressure on Moses Itauma going into this fight. Many believe that unless he convincingly beats Dillian Whyte, his earlier achievements will start to lose value in the eyes of the boxing public. In boxing, reputations can change overnight, and fans are quick to judge based on a single performance. A flat or narrow win would not satisfy those who have been calling him a future star, and it could raise doubts about his readiness for the biggest names in the division. This puts Moses in a position where he is fighting for more than just a win. He is defending his reputation and the momentum that has so far made his rise in the heavyweight ranks look unstoppable.
So much pressure now on this young man's shoulders. Like, if he doesn't look spectacular against Dillian Whyte, all of a sudden people are like, that's how fickle boxing fans are. We're so fucking fickle. If he doesn't look great against Dillian Whyte, we'll be like, he's almost got to ice Dillian Whyte for everyone to say, yeah, he's the king. You know what I mean? For him to continue that trajectory, because he is like a fucking rocket ship at the moment. Going on the eye test, I think he has absolutely everything. Going on what people tell me about him, I think he has absolutely everything. Like, I hear the sparring stories. Guys, there is so much I could share on this channel that I don't. So much. But I hear the sparring stories. I know who he's hurt. I know who he's wobbled. I know all those things. And he's a bad man. Honestly, he's a bad man. I look at him, it's funny. I don't feel like I'm interviewing a 20-year-old. Do you know what I mean? He just is a man, isn't he? But yet he's a kid. And being a kid isn't a bad thing in the sport of boxing, because there is that kind of fearlessness, like this youthful exuberance, speed. You're not damaged goods. You haven't been through the trenches. The politics of boxing hasn't made you fall out of love with the sport yet. So as much as people say he lacks experience, sometimes lacking experience in those things I've just mentioned.
Anthony Yard, a British light heavyweight contender, believes Moses Itauma has shown greatness from the very beginning, even at just 18 years old. Yard sees qualities in Moses that signal future dominance in the heavyweight division, and he is confident that Moses has what it takes to become the next major champion. His belief comes from both witnessing Moses in action and recognizing the mentality required to succeed at the highest level.
Moses Itauma, his first headline event, takes on the body snatcher Dillian Whyte. You first on this. How good is Moses? I mean, you must hear the stories that everyone seems to hear about the sparring and all that. How good is Moses when you're watching him?
I've seen Moses, and I've said this from the beginning, from when he was 18, 19. This guy, he's it.
He's it.
He is it. He is it. This is my opinion. It's boxing. I know it's pressure and all these kind of things or whatever, but he's it.
Why?
He's got a skill set, fast hands, footwork. From what I've seen, he's got a chin. Not that you need to be getting hit with these wild shots, because clearly you've done something wrong if you got hit. Good jab, you know. For me, in my opinion.
Dave Coldwell, a British boxing trainer and pundit, says Moses Itauma's fighting style is perfectly suited to cause Dillian Whyte serious problems. He highlights Moses' ability to combine speed, precision, and aggression, dangerous traits, against a fighter who has already taken significant damage over the years. Coldwell suggests that at this stage of Whyte's career, he will need to be extremely cautious, because Moses has the tools to inflict major damage if given the opportunity. A member of Whyte's training team admits they fully understand the challenge Moses brings as a young and energetic fighter. They know that if Whyte comes out too aggressively in the early rounds, it could play into Moses' hands. Instead, Their plan is to make Moses work hard from the start while giving him as few openings as possible. They want to push him into expending energy and forcing him into uncomfortable situations.
We've not really seen him, and that's where his weakness could be.
Of course. I mean, if you try to go out there and blast him out, you playing into his hands because he's young, he's fast, and he can punch. So sometimes you gotta walk him down.
You've been part of the Dillian Whyte team now. Dillian Whyte joined you, right? He left Mark Tibbs and said, okay, I need Buddy McGirt. You've been part of the team for a while. Do you have any say on the opponent? Now, does he come to you, for example, and say, look, okay, this is what we want to do, and then you can kind of give him guidance? Or is it a case of, this is the opponent, get me ready for this opponent, buddy?
Well, it's like this. In a situation like this, when they come to you, he said to me, listen, buddy, this is what they're putting on the table for me. I said, so what do you want to do? I mean, I don't want to say, yeah, and you're not feeling it. I want to see what you're feeling. And he goes, I got to go for it. So, all right, let's go. We're a team. So if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. I mean, if we got to go through this hailstorm to get to the other side of the we got to do what we got to do.
Buddy, I saw something the other day, and I don't believe you. I want to pull you up on it. I think I saw that you said you haven't seen Moses box before, and you don't watch your opponent's box. But I don't believe you, buddy. I don't believe you.
By dragging the fight into the later rounds, they believe the pace and physical demands will begin to favor Whyte. His experience, ring intelligence, and adaptability could then allow him to take control. This measured approach, they feel, gives Whyte the best chance to neutralize Moses's youthful energy and turn the momentum in his favor. Whyte's former trainer, who has guided him through many tough battles, admits he feels uneasy about this fight. While the bout offers Whyte strong financial incentives and could be a good career move, he warns that Moses brings a dangerous mix of youth, sharp skills, and relentless ambition. These qualities can create unpredictable situations in the ring, especially when facing an opponent with something to prove. The trainer stresses that while Whyte has experience on his side, facing a young, highly motivated fighter demands exceptional preparation. Complacency cannot exist. Every mistake could be costly. In his view, the risk is very real.
To be fair, I had 11 fights with Dillian. We got to world #1. And so I know Dillian really, really well. And I don't like that fight for him. I never thought it'd be a step up for someone. He won't like me saying that. It's just my emotional investment that was in him. But, he's done very well, Dillian, and he deserves a big payday. I'm sure I'm hoping he's getting that. Listen, he's got the experience to upset the apple cart, Dillian. He has. But what's his name? Who's he fighting?
Mosesitauma.
Moses, I beg your pardon. Moses is a serious, responsive operator, and man can pick his punches well. So yeah, obviously Moses is the favourite for me in that fight. But I like to see someone like Dillian with that art and that mindset and his character.